Hi, my name's Jason Friend, and in this short 5-minute video I'm going to discuss an easy way to take a little bit of control of your camera settings. Now, when most people buy a new camera, they tend to put it onto fully automatic mode, and then after a while take a few shots and then hopefully progress to using different settings. But this isn't always the case. I've actually lost count of the amount of times I've had people come on workshops where they've had a new camera, had it for a couple of years. Every time they've just left it on green, square, fully automatic. And really you are not getting the most out of your equipment. Now, modern cameras are wonderful pieces of technology, but they're not human. They don't have artificial intelligence. They don't know what you're photographing. All they try to do is produce acceptable results, which really, if you want to better your photography, is not good enough. Okay, it could be argued that composition is more important, and it is, but there's nothing worse than having a wonderful composition to only find that your camera settings were totally off and the shot is no good. So, you need to know both things. So we need to take a little bit of control of a camera, and we're going to do that today, and it's going to be very simple, small baby step. We're going to switch from the green auto mode to the P, program automatic mode. Now, what the P mode allows us to do is take control of how sensitive our camera is to light. If you use your camera in fully automatic, it will decide the ISO, which is the sensitivity of your camera. By putting it into the P mode, we can control that ISO setting. A bit like in the days of film, when you used to actually buy a roll of film, be it ISO 100, 200 or 400, based on how bright the conditions were, choose a film for that setting, 400 being a classic if it was like today, a bit overcast. Now we can do that from shot to shot in our camera, and all we need to do is change the ISO. Now, if you're in fully automatic mode, your camera's going to decide that, and that's fine most of the time. But take the shot behind me, for example. If I was to capture the image in fully automatic mode, what you will find is it will freeze the water to a degree. The problem is, I actually want the water a little bit milky, sort of smoothed out a bit. So in order to achieve that, I need to drop the ISO right down. Now, in the case of my Nikon Z7, I can drop that down to ISO 64. Now, by default, it's probably going to guess about ISO 400, 800 for this scene. So that's quite a lot more movement I can freeze, or a bit more movement I can sort of blur out in the shot by dropping it down to ISO 64, which I couldn't do in the green square mode. Now, the next problem being, if you're in green square, is what if your photo's too dark or too light? In P mode, you can use exposure compensation, and you can take it up to the right or up down to the left, and basically you can add light or you can subtract light. You can make it brighter or darker to get it looking how you want. In fully automatic green square mode, you're stuck with whatever the camera decides. And one last final reason to use the P mode of the green auto square mode is to allow you to select the white balance of the camera. Now, white balance is essentially how the camera decides what the colour should be in your shot. Go to P, all of a sudden you can adjust this white balance. So there you have 3 very good reasons why switching to P is the logical thing to do. You can control how sensitive your camera is by controlling the ISO. You can decide if the image is bright enough or if it's too dark, and if it's too bright or too dark, you can compensate by using exposure compensation. And finally, you can determine to a degree the colours of your final image by selecting a white balance. In forthcoming videos, we're going to take this a little bit further, and we're going to start looking at this semi-automatic mode, such as shutter priority and aperture priority. And also we'll take it that final step and we'll look at fully manual. But for the time being, set your camera to P mode and take some baby steps towards taking control of your camera settings. If you've enjoyed this video, please do subscribe to the channel and come back next week for another 5-minute photo school.